All right, today we're going to take a look at these two words, inter and intra. Inter and intra. Well, actually, they're not words. They're prefixes. Okay, a prefix is like a small piece of a word that can be attached, at the beginning of the word. Okay, so here's a word, national. You know what national means, right? Well, we can put the prefix at the beginning to make it international. International. And if there's a piece at the end of a word, then it's called a suffix. A suffix like this. Look, wise, clockwise. Okay? This is what clockwise means, this direction, right? If you look at the hands on a clock, they move this way. Okay, that's clockwise. If it goes the other way, then that's counterclockwise. Okay? Counterclockwise. So we have a prefix and we have a suffix. Look, two in the same word. We have a prefix and we have the root part of the word, and then we have the suffix over here. Okay, so inter and intra. Now, these can be a bit confusing because they have a different meaning, but they sound almost exactly the same. Okay, they're pronounced almost exactly the same when they're in a word. Okay, for example, listen to me when I say these two words. International, intranational. International, intranational. Can you hear a difference? It's really hard to hear a difference. If I say them really slowly, then I'm sure you can hear the difference, okay? International. Intranational. Okay, so you can hear the difference between inter and intra, right? But when they're inside a word like this, and we're just talking at a normal speed, it's almost impossible to really hear, which it is. Is it inter or is it intra? So let's take a look at the difference between the meanings of these words, okay? Look at all these countries. Wow, look at all those great countries. What's the best country here on this map? Maybe Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, okay? So let's imagine we're flying from Azerbaijan to Egypt, okay? Then we would be taking an international flight, right? Okay, an international flight. We're going from Azerbaijan to Egypt. We're going from one country to another country. That's called international, right? We're going between countries. But imagine if we were to take a flight inside Canada. Okay, let's say we fly from like Halifax to Toronto. Okay, would that be an international flight? No, that would be an intranational flight. An intranational flight, right? We're staying inside Canada. Okay, we're flying from Canada to Canada. Okay, we're not going to another country. So then we use the word intranational. Actually, we have a different word for this, and the word is domestic. Okay, domestic flight. So if you stay inside your country, that's called a domestic flight. If you fly to another country, that's called an international flight. Okay, let's take a look at another example here. Interstate and intrastate. What's the difference between both of those words? Well, let's take a look at another map. Okay, here's a map of the US. You can see all these different states, right? In Canada, we have provinces, but in the US, they have states. Okay, now in the US, they have interstate highways. Big highways called interstate highways. Okay, for example, if you want to get from over there to over here, you will take an interstate highway. A big highway that goes between different states. Okay, interstate. But let's imagine we're just in one state, in the state of Texas, okay? And we go from here to here on a highway. Well, then that would be an intrastate highway, an intrastate, okay? So intra means inside, and inter means between two or three or more different groups, like countries or whatever, okay? So inter is between, intra means inside. Okay, for example, intracity means inside the city. Intercity means between two or more different cities. Okay, what's this? My virus definitions are being updated. I guess my computer is updating its viruses. I hope I don't get a virus. Anyway, I hope it goes away soon. It's always distracting when I see this stupid little box come up in the corner of my video. Okay, so another example is the internet and the intranet. Okay, internet. Hey, you're watching my videos right now through the internet. That's amazing. Look at that. Here's a nice fishing net. So my video is going in here, and then you're watching it from over here. Maybe you're in a different country. So that's called the internet, right? But there's also something called the intranet. The intranet, where it's like a closed system. For example, like North Korea. In North Korea, they don't really have the internet. Okay, people have access, I think, to something like the internet, but just within its own country. I don't really know what it looks like. I don't know how it works. Actually, China's internet is more of an intranet too. It's like China's internet is like a big intranet that's controlled by the government. Okay, so Chinese internet it's not really like this. Now, I lived in China for a year and a half, and man, that was my biggest frustration. That was the biggest challenge living in China is that there's no internet. It's almost impossible to get foreign websites like YouTube, for example. I remember just sitting every day in front of my computer trying to load YouTube videos. You know the little bar on the bottom of the YouTube video? It would just load really slowly. Sometimes it would take like half an hour or more to load a YouTube video. So, hey, if you're in China, right, I know some of my students are in China and they find a way to watch my videos using a VPN in China. So if you're in China right now, I just want to say a big thank you to you for watching my videos, because I know how frustrating it is. It's just like, it takes so long to load YouTube videos or other websites. You know, it's almost impossible for foreigners to live in China because of this problem. You know, I love Chinese people, and I wish I could go back to China to visit or to live again. But, you know, I don't know if I'll ever go back to China because it's so hard. It's so challenging. You know, I remember the first day I got to China, my plane landed in Beijing, and I went to my hotel, and the first thing I wanted to do was to write an email to my family to let them know that I got there safely, right? I arrived safe and sound in China. Well, I tried to load my email, and I realized email is blocked in China. Everything is blocked. Like a lot of people just think social media sites like Facebook and Twitter are blocked in China, but really everything is blocked. Like all foreign websites, almost every foreign website is blocked, you know, which is extremely challenging, and you have to use a VPN to access the internet in like foreign countries. So again, if you're in China and you're watching YouTube, thank you, because I know that most Chinese people can't access YouTube. So you're smart. You figured out a way around the Great Firewall. The Chinese government wall, the internet wall, is called people call it the Great Firewall of China. You know, it's sort of funny because the Great Wall, you know, Chinese, the Great Wall of China. Well, the Great Firewall, they don't allow you to visit other websites or anything. So I hope in the future the government opens up a little bit to let people like me back in, because I would love to go back, but it's just too hard. It's too hard to go back there now because I can't, I wouldn't be able to upload YouTube videos, make YouTube videos and that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. It means that's just a different issue altogether. So let's take a look at another example here. Okay, so intramural. Intramural. Have you heard that word before? Well, maybe in your school, when you were in high school or university, you played sports against another team at your same university. Just sort of like informal sports. Okay, that's called intramurals. For example, these people, they all go to the same university. Okay, they just made some different teams, right? That team there is wearing yellow pennies, and this team is wearing green pennies. They're all the students at the same university, right? Remember, intra means inside. It means like a closed system. These things are called pennies. A penny. Okay, like very often schools will buy, a full set of pennies, different colors, and then, all the students, they make their own teams and they play against each other, like basketball, soccer, field hockey. Some countries, I don't know if people play field hockey in Canada, but I know countries like Pakistan, really good at field hockey. Yeah, I don't know if have you ever played field hockey before? Field hockey sticks are sort of look like candy canes, right? Sort of with the curve on the end. I don't even know the rules of field hockey, but it's a big sport. I think field hockey is bigger than ice hockey. Not here, but I mean internationally, right? Places like Pakistan, they're really good at field hockey, but I don't know if Canada has a field hockey team. But anyway, let's look at another example here. Okay, inter-party conflict. An inter-party conflict. Now you'll see this. It's like a politics. If you're into politics, you might see a word like that. Inter-party. Okay, that means between two different parties, or between two or more different parties. For example, in the US, they have two main political parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. Okay, so if we're talking about a conflict between the parties, then we could use the word inter-party conflict. But if we're talking about a conflict inside one party, then we would use intra-party conflict. Intra-party conflict. Okay, like right now in the US, the Democratic Party is experiencing some intra-party conflict, right? Some people say we should have open borders and let illegal immigrants come in and give them free healthcare. And then other people in the same party are saying, wait a minute, we don't want to pay for the healthcare of illegal immigrants because then the whole world is going to try to come illegally into the US and get free healthcare. Okay, so that's an intra-party conflict. Okay, so I guess that's the end of the lesson. Hey, I want to know, could you survive without the internet? Is it possible? Do you think you could live without the internet? For me, it's funny to think back on when I was a kid. There was no internet when I was a kid. I lived the first half of my life without internet. The first time I used internet, I was 15 years old. Can you believe that? I was 15 the first time I ever used internet. That's crazy. I've lived through a lot in my life. For example, the Berlin Wall. I was just a kid when it's a very loud plane flying over my house. But yeah, I was just a kid when the Berlin Wall, was taken down, and Yugoslavia was still a country when I was a kid. How about you? What have you all lived through in your life? Some of my subscribers are more than 65 years old, and that's awesome. Hey, if you're more than 65 years old, you've probably lived through a lot. What's the biggest thing you've lived through in your life? Boy, that would be interesting. Let me know down there in the comments. What is the biggest event that you've lived through? But yeah, let me know down there. Could you survive without the internet? For me, I don't think I could. Now that I have a YouTube channel, my job is making videos, and that's why, when I go to a country, the first thing I think about before I go to a different country is how am I going to get internet? Great. That's why it would be really hard for me to go back to China, because I know if I go to China, even if I fly through China, that would be hard because I wouldn't be able to check my YouTube channel or emails or Facebook or Instagram or anything. So yeah, that's why I like going to Thailand, because Thailand has pretty good internet. But I heard South Korea's internet is the best. So maybe if I go to South Korea, I'll be able to upload my videos in like 1 minute instead of like 30 minutes or I think it takes about almost an hour for me to upload my videos here in my basement suite. Anyway, let me know what your situation with the internet is in your country, and I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.